Okay, let's go ahead and have everybody introduce yourselves.
Howdy, I'm Laynie Bowman. I'm an ag leadership minor in ag communications major, and I am graduating in December. And I have a pretty big background in agriculture. My family has a bunch of feedlots everywhere, and I'm also enjoy being around equine.
Howdy, my name is Bennet. I'm an agriculture, communication, and journalism major. Um, I'm from Houston, Texas. I originally was born in College Station, had some agriculture background with my family, but moved to Houston and kind of cut most of that off.
I'm Tucker Hickman. I'm from College Station. I'm a senior ag communication and journalism major. Limited ag background, but more so like heavy photography, graphic design there. So that's where the communications part comes into play. But
I am Kate. Oh, hi, I'm Caitlin Johnson. I am from Lake City, Texas, which is south of Houston, and I am a senior ag communications major.
So we've got Laynie, Bennett, Tucker, and Caitlin with us.
Yes, sir.
So how is everybody today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, very good, thank you. What's the weather like over in Texas?
Pretty
Hot.
sunny.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
it's like 9
horrible.
That's why I don't live there. I'm in Wyoming, so.
Oh,
That's
wow.
beautiful. What's the weather
Is it
like there?
snowing?
What is it?
There
Is it
still?
snowing?
I went up to the mountains. It was Sunday. I went up to the mountains, and it was about 30 degrees and snowing up there. Here, it's been getting down to about 35 in the morning. No snow yet.
Oh my gosh. Do you
And
love
we're
it there?
sweating walking the miles.
Do you like it up in Wyoming?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm not a hot weather person, so it works good for me. Our summers do get a little bit on the hot side, though. I mean, up into 100, 105, which you guys are probably rolling your eyes. That's not hot, but
Plenty hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're hot weather people, but we just have to adapt to it
Yeah.
because it is hot here all the time.
so what are your goals as far as um, in agriculture and agricultural communication and tying that in with photography? What kind of goals do each of you have?
So for me, I want to go and run one of my family's feed yards. My grandpa has two, and then my parents have two. And I've always dabbled in photography, and I think that it's just such a great way to advocate because there's such little advocators for, and then also being immersed in and knowing the industry and having someone who knows and they can advocate the truth is will create such a big impact in getting the truth out there and letting everybody know what goes on and that we're doing the humane things and what goes into producing our food. And that everybody, I think path to plate is a big misconception for people. People just think that it shows up in the grocery store. So having the photography, the podcast, videography, it's such a great way to get that across to everybody who doesn't know what actually goes on and the hard work and the dedication that goes on every day.
Piggybacking off what they said, I feel like I have what we all have, a unique skill set that allow us to help push a message across and being able to they're not necessarily the most tech savvy or like willing to do that. So like we have the skill set to push their message across and help them out in whatever way that we need.
Well, in communication, I think is a huge, huge skill set because if you don't have any, if you're lacking in any kind of way of any specific skill set, being able to communicate with other people to get them to help you out or get them to explain how to do something or why it's a certain way, I think is critical too.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's like 2% of the world are farmer and ranchers, and probably most of that percentage is an older generation. So they're not used to TikTok, they're not used to X or Twitter, or Instagram or Facebook. So we have to be there for them to produce the word and the truth and show everybody how much they have sacrificed in their life to create this farm, to create this ranch, and just produce everything for them and ensure that, or let them know that we will be there for them and that they can trust us.
Mm.
Yeah, my father-in-law is an old rancher, and he doesn't use a computer. You can't even get him to use a smartphone. He still uses a flip phone, so that's a good example of somebody that just isn't tech savvy, that can't do a lot of those things by themselves.
Yeah, my grandparents are still on the flip phones. They don't go on social media at all. He'll get on his laptop every now and then and upload some photos of, like, he just, like, you know how, like, grandparents are, they just take selfies of themselves. So he'll, like, be out on his land, whatever he's doing, he's taking selfies, man. Himself, posting them on, but that's like the absolute max of what he's doing on the internet.
So what is all of you guys, what is your understanding of the values and objectives of agriculture and communications?
I think the values is just producing the truth and having everybody know how much daily goes on into producing either cattle or lambs, sheep, goats, like whatever that everybody is consuming, how much dedication and time goes into that, because I've seen it. I see it every day because that's what I grew up on, having my dad having to go out at 5 a.m. and not come back until 7 p.m. at night. It's just seeing everything that goes on and telling everybody about the truth. And then I think as growing up in the agriculture industry, most of us are possibly Christians, and I mean, stay true to our word. And I think we're all just very trustworthy people, but we have to produce that and tell everybody that they can believe us and that what we're doing is ethical.
Yeah, I think that communicating that type of stuff is important too, but I also think that it's really important when there is a crisis that goes on in these major companies like Bluebell. When they had a listeria outbreak, communicators are going to need to know how to correctly inform the public of the outbreak and why it was there, what they're doing about it. And same thing with Boar's Head. I know that they had a listeria outbreak, I think last year, maybe. Just being able to communicate that with the true facts and stuff is really important for consumers.
So what do you do to mitigate the situation if your entire team disagrees with you?
I would say, like, if you're in a company based, go back to your code of ethics and just go back to that. And if, like, I was a manager, I would just be like, this is what our values are. And yeah, just go back to that and then ensure that everybody knows what is going on or something like that.
Yeah, no, I like that response. I think definitely just being, I'm a big guy of just honesty. I like being honest with my team, just like getting together. And if you don't all agree, like I like to sit there and kind of try to solve the problem until you do kind of find a conclusion on agreeing on how to communicate that. Just like she was saying, being a supervisor, I get to be a supervisor for my job, and a lot of the times, a lot of the people under me, they just disagree with a lot of the calls because I'm a referee. But a lot of people disagree with a lot of the small things. But I have to have a lot of hard conversations like daily at work with college students or even adults sometimes, just on what that looks like and how to come to an agreement. So I think definitely just sitting down with the person, just having an intentional conversation about just the values and reiterating those things and how to communicate that.
Yeah, keep it the civil conversation and being open to their ideas as well. Like, you can't go into it with, we're going to do it my way. I feel like being able to listen and take in what they're really saying and then imply that to what your thoughts are and maybe find this common ground. But I mean, not everything's going to go your way every time. I feel like a lot of it's learning and growing from what other people think and then applying it to how you think and your ideas and how you want to approach a certain situation.
I think the hardest part with communication is that a lot of times you will say something, somebody else will hear something entirely different. No matter what it is, it seems like that is the case through everything. Take politics for example. I'm not going to talk about politics, but just as an example, with politics, somebody says one thing and somebody else hears something entirely different, so they disagree with each other, and I think that's something that is really hard to get past. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like a lot of that's amplified by social media, like how fast information spreads nowadays. Like, so if someone skims something and sees one thing, they're already posted on Twitter that something completely different that they thought they read, and then people see that and think it's the truth, and so it's uh, just an uphill battle that I don't know that there's a way to necessarily stop it from happening, but uh, just making sure that uh, I completely lost my train of thought.
No, I like what you were
It's okay.
saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of things just get blown out of proportion when they are brought to TikTok or Twitter or Instagram, and it just multiplies over like 30 seconds.
Well, it also
Okay.
goes back to what you were saying about AI. Like, if you can generate something that's false in the first place, that like it's the same battle that you're fighting as if someone's spreading misinformation about something.
Yeah, yeah, I really like what you said. I think social media definitely does has such an infinite emphasis on everything that's going on. I think definitely sometimes like when situations like that happen for me, because I think it does happen often with honestly sometimes just like sisters, growing up arguing with so many people, even like I said at work, like I'm telling them something, but they hear something completely opposite. I think a lot of those times I just try to show like some of the values that I incorporate in my life, like grace and mercy, like if they're getting really heated or even at work in an agriculture environment where I'm trying to come across as this or something completely else and they're hearing something else, just being graceful and being like, it's not what I said, but like this is
Take
why
it how
this,
you
this is
want.
why yeah, like this is what I'm trying to put out, tell them again kindly, kill them with kindness is something that I like to go by.
And sometimes you can't force people to understand you. Take it how you want.
So why would you consider agriculture as an important part of the economy, and how would you convey that through photography to other people?
Yeah, I think agriculture is probably easily one of the biggest things in the economy because it's the backbone of America. It's the backbone of everything we do. I'm not someone who's very honestly like in agriculture a lot, like family or anything. But I think that gives me a fresh perspective of a lot of people that don't have it on major. Definitely have somebody who can just appreciate the farmers and appreciate the family members of the farmers who support them 24/7. It just gives me definitely a different outlook on all of it. They do so much in photography. I like what you said about your photo. I think earlier in the farmers market, you said something about like someone bought your photo. They asked if it was AI. I love that. I think that just shines more light on agriculture as a whole. Um, my mom loves pictures of cows, and so that has made me like cows more and just shed a little light on agriculture more as a whole. Like I said, I'm not someone who's deeply rooted in agriculture, so just to shed a little bit of light on somebody who's on the outside of that bubble definitely helps give me a little more appreciation for agriculture.
But yeah, and in photography, like you have this ability to communicate a message, like however you see fit. Like you can create a story and tell that story through an image, and maybe not necessarily like through one image. Like you could take that image and uh, pair it with like graphic design or video in some sort, like if there's like a voiceover or something talking about something, but it all just kind of marries together. And if you marry it together perfectly, you're able to just create this story that isn't told as much as it should be.
What would you consider are your most important responsibilities in agriculture?
I would say, like, always going back to ethics and truth. And also, I just feel like I just keep repeating myself, but just like how much daily goes into each operation to make it run smoothly. Like, you look at, like, you have to get up at 6 a.m. or you have to be in the office, you have to be outside in the heat, like we're in Texas where it gets 110 degrees outside. It's just ethics, truth, and then the dedication and the hard work that goes into each and every product that is produced for America or what we export.
I think for me, the biggest thing that I think of when you ask that question is like conservation. I'm in a class that talks about water, and the city of Houston already has to plan on how to support everybody in the city up until 2050. And like that's something I don't even think about. And using that, it just kind of sticks when I'm like showering and if I'm brushing my teeth and I'm leaving the water on, or if I'm leaving the shower running when I'm not even in it, stuff like that. Same thing at like the grocery store. Eggs are not unlimited. And I think a lot of people think they are and that there's always going to be eggs on the shelf, but sometimes there's not. So I think my biggest role for me is just being able to conserve and be conservative with food, water, all things agriculture, because it's not endless at the end of the day.
I think COVID is a good example of that when people find out that things are limited, that there's not always going to be a supply. When a lot of the truck drivers were shut down and um, shelves just started to go empty on things, and that's a good example of that. And the same goes here in Wyoming, where freeways get closed because of ice on the road. Trucks can't make it through, so things start to just kind of slowly disappear from the store without replacements.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, it's definitely COVID was definitely a big wake up call for me, especially like I was very young. I was a sophomore in high school, so definitely like going through that and kind of getting on the other side of that, being like a senior. I think in high school when everything is completely over with and no more masks and all those things, and the stores, things were in stores. Big HEB guy down here in Texas, and a lot of the things weren't the same at HEB, and just seeing how big of an impact they make on agriculture and how much agriculture makes an impact on my life.
What do you think is important in agriculture? Why do you think that formal education is an important part of that?
Well, I think you see stuff on social media and make all these documentaries that people watch for their own entertainment and then think that that's how it is everywhere. And so informing them that like that's not how it is everywhere, and like there's people that do it the right way, and mainly just give them confidence in like what they're actually consuming can play a big part in that.
And I think just ensuring that having a group of knowledgeable people also is another basis for creating that trust and that openness of our consumers of agriculture. And just like with the AI thing, there's somebody out there who knows how that goes or knows how the operation runs, then they could possibly be out there and be like, this is not true, and have content that is like, this is how it actually happens, and this is what goes into it, instead of having nobody out there and everybody believing that, oh, this AI thing is true or this thing is true, and having someone there to come up with the facts and the truth and be like, that is wrong. Let me show you what actually goes on.
And how does photography influence agriculture?
I would say so. My favorite photographer is a guy named Bo Simmons, and he goes around and he talks to, or not, he talks. He goes and take pictures of ranches, like he goes to the King Ranch, or he goes to the Four Sixes, and he goes to other places, and and then he takes pictures, and he usually does it in black and white, and it just creates this element, like you see the dirt and the grit and all these things on either the portrait, or you see the horses running around, or you see them gathering calves, And then he posts those pictures, and then on the side, he adds a story behind it. So I think that's such a beautiful thing that, I mean, there's, like I said earlier, 2% of the population are farmers and ranchers. So having someone who goes out there to these old ranches, such as the Four Sixes and the King Ranch, to take pictures and then also tell the story of that old like vaquero that's out there and just like telling their story and how much dedication they put into it. I think that's such a wonderful part, and it keeps the traditions and the values of alive of ranches like that. And then he also goes out to newer ranches and just things like that. It just adds more I guess, flavor to what agriculture is and how deep the roots run.
I think also we live in a world where people just like to look at things and maybe look at it for like 5 seconds. And I think people are more likely gonna like enjoy looking at a picture more than reading a story about how important agriculture is. If they see something like a farmer in the dirt or something like that, they're gonna look at that and appreciate that more than like reading about how long this farmer was farming for. Yeah.
Well, I also think that like a lot of communication has been text-based. Like you read about stuff happening, and now like there's the whole clickbait thing, like in social media, like you need that attention grabbing image to show like to you got to appeal to the consumers and the readers' emotions. And so photography allows you to kind of bridge that gap to get people to click on the information and actually read into it and tie it to their lives.
Yeah, it's also hard now though because I'll be looking at pictures and I have to ask myself, is that AI? Or I'll be watching a video and I'm like, is this AI? Because it's like some crazy visuals. I'm like, did that actually happen?
And when you look at the pictures and think to yourself, is that AI, or and you try to figure out whether it's real or not, what usually gives it away whether it's AI or not?
It's normally like this. I don't know how else to put this, but the smoothness of the picture. Normally, if it's like a person's face, it's not very detailed. Like, not doesn't have like human is humanistic word. Human features.
Human characteristics.
Human characteristics, I guess. Even like even with like landscapes of like a sunset or something, it you can just tell, but like the way that the colors kind of uh form together, and it just looks very like a kind of like a painting, like a very bad painting.
Yeah. Or if you like, there's like a crowd, you can zoom in, and there's at least
Yeah,
3 or 4 faces that are distorted.
yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
terrible.
Most of the time, AI is not, well, from what I've seen, some of the pictures are not 100% accurate and realistic.
Yeah, the other side of that is you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
You also don't know.
use like the Google image generator AI, I forget what it's called, but like I mean that is like the most advanced AI image generator I've seen, and it rarely messes up. Like I mean it can create some stuff that's like hyper realistic, and you're just not able to tell. Like I have like messed around on there and sent stuff to people like as a joke, passing it off as real, and they had no idea until I told them after the fact.
It's crazy.
Like you don't know.
What are your motivations to keep on going with agriculture?
I would just like piggyback off of what I said. Um, my family, my grandpa, his parents or his grandparents came from Ohio down to South Texas, and they've had that land since 1914 or earlier on than that. And just like having the roots and showing like the dedication and how, I mean, back in the day, they had horses and carriages, and just like showing how far we have come, but also show that our roots are still deep into agriculture and we are there to produce the highest quality animal or produce the highest quality crop.
involved in crisis and risk communication. And I guess my goal with that within agriculture would be just like conveying the truth and how to make the social media freak out less about something like a listeria outbreak or any other diseases that happen in the food industry. Because once it's out, like the social media already has like makes up their minds so quickly, it's really hard to change their minds, but you can try.
For me, I just feel like I have this God-given gift to communicate stuff in a way that not a lot of people can. And so with agriculture being a relatively under-communicated subject, just being able to communicate their message and communicate their message effectively, just feel like it, in a way, like it's rewarding, so to speak. And so just using my gifts to help people that definitely need their story told.
Do you mind if I ask what your gift is?
It's, I told you, it's communicating, like getting a point across, like whether that's photography or graphic design or video, like just taking a story and giving it emotion and conveying it to someone in a way that impacts them.
Yeah.
That's cool. I definitely resonate with Caitlin a little more, just like on the just kind of supporting it through communication side and agriculture. I'm definitely, like I said earlier, not someone who's very involved in agriculture, but I definitely recognize the importance of it. And so just maybe I think as I continue of my life, I think definitely just staying a little involved in conserving things and just staying involved with my sounds funny, goofy, I guess, but supporting like my local farmers, I guess, like a church and stuff. My grandpa likes to do stuff for the farmers that come to his church, and so just supporting them and showing them love and doing things like that for me personally, I think is a big thing.
How do you show and express emotion? And what techniques do you do to show and express that emotion in your pictures when you try to communicate something?
I feel like it varies depending on specifically photography. Like you can, it depends on what you're doing, but whether it's the environment that they're in, like having a wide shot that you can kind of see everything that's going on, or a close-up gritty picture that just shows like the hard work and dedication that goes into it. There's just a variety of ways, and it really depends on what the objective is in the end.
Yeah, I think it's definitely subjective to the photo and what you're trying to convey. I think it's pretty difficult. I'm newer to photography in general, but I do enjoy trying to convey a lot of it through sports. I know Tucker does a lot of sports photography, but I don't take a lot of photos. But when I do, it typically is sports or close by nature. But I think just trying to capture. I have a really cool photo of a bee, and I think it just kind of like it's very random. But like the photo for me, it was accidental. I think we kind of talked about that in class one day, but it just kind of portrays like this simplistic, just bee. Like he's just chilling, like no one's bothering him. He's just going by in life. Like, I think it's just different. But then you see a photo of an A&M dude, a football player just chucking the crap out of another one. It's like, I'm happy. I'm getting fired up. Like, come on. Like, I think that was subjective to the photo and what you're trying to do.
Well, it's treating each of those individually too. I don't feel like you can, like you have to take whatever your end goal is and then backtrack and figure out the best way to do that for each individual photo. Like shooting, it's not just like spraying and praying. It's like you have to shoot very intentional and know what you're doing and visualize the end goal in mind, like from like behind the camera, just being prepared and really just staying individual.
Yeah, I feel like also you wouldn't really edit a picture of a bee the same way you would edit a picture of a football player tracking someone else. I think they both would have definite, like, very different lighting, brightness, exposure, and like, yeah, depending on the photo, could, and like what the photo is about, would change the way you feel about it as well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating when you say spray and pray. Most of the camera manufacturers push for that now more than anything else because their marketing is that, oh, it can shoot 30 frames per second up to, or for unlimited shots or whatever the the frames per second is on it, and it's kind of getting to be a little bit ridiculous there.
I feel like I feel like a lot of the camera marketing nowadays is going towards this new generation of photographers that not necessarily is. I'm not trying to like not what anyone's doing, but a lot of the younger photographers that I come across are shooting a million photos, which I don't think is a bad thing, but just hoping they get a good shot. Where if you go into it with, like, I go into every game I shoot with a shot list of what I want and what I want to convey, like, throughout the message of what we're doing. And so just uh, being as prepared as possible allows you to be more lucky, if that makes sense.
Yeah, when I started photography, I was using just an old film camera with a manual film advance, and I remember doing a roping competition, shooting pictures of a roping competition with that. And really, it was just watching and waiting until everything moved right where you expected it to before you hit the shot. Because, of course, it was manual focus too, so you kind of have to pre-focus to a certain area, wait till they get there, then snap that shot. And now it's just hold the button down and cross your fingers and hope that you get something.
Yeah, there's so many times where I've accidentally gotten a good shot because autofocus focused on the wrong thing. I'm like, wait, that's actually better than I was actually hoping for. Because however the depth of field lined up, it just conveyed the message better than what I was originally thinking.
Do any of you have any questions for me while we're here before we finish up?
Yeah, Jeff, I have one real quick. Have you only shot like photography for agriculture, or have you done like a multitude of things, or what?
I've done pretty much everything. I've done weddings. I've done senior pictures. I've done a lot of landscapes, waterfalls, nature photography, a little bit of agricultural photography. I've done pretty much everything at one point or another.
What's been your favorite?
Nature photography.
Favorite place?
Yellowstone.
Ah,
Yeah.
So you prefer like the outdoor stuff than being in a studio and being able to control what you're shooting in every aspect of the lighting and posing and all that?
Yes, I do.
I'm the opposite. I'd rather be in control of whatever's going on and not have to, because I can slow it down in my head and actually get everything I want. So I feel like that's something that I enjoy a little more than actually. I shoot a lot of baseball and football games here at A&M, and I'd rather be in the studio than spraying and praying, which is basically what I'm doing.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of tough to be out and you got to wait for the light to be absolutely perfect. And if you're as impatient as I am, that's not always an easy thing to do. But you've got to wait for that light to be perfect, and sometimes it never is. So you've got to go back again and again and again to get that perfect picture that you have in your mind. Um, but yeah, that's the photography I prefer.
Well, either that or you just change how you're shooting the photo and use the light to your advantage. I feel like being able to work with your feet can spontaneously turn into a better photo. I feel like that's definitely something that happens quite often in what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I find that a lot of times when the light just isn't right and the sky is kind of hazy and there's just not the cloud cover I'm looking for, that's usually a black and white.
You typically do a lot of color photography or in black or not color, like you shoot a lot in the daytime or nighttime?
I shoot a lot more in the nighttime, either that or first thing early in the morning.
You just, uh, what's the word? The shutter, you just turn the shutter way down and let it go for 5 seconds or so?
Sometimes. Sometimes. It just depends completely on the situation. There are times that I'll have the shutter open for 30 seconds at a time or more. But there are also times when I like to have it up to 500th of a second. It just really, really depends on what I'm shooting.